Hi, welcome to the Intuitive Writer Activation Workshop, a free online course dedicated to helping you unlock and access your natural intuitive writing abilities. I'm your instructor, author Camille Peacock. Please support this free content by hitting the subscribe button and telling all your writing buddies. Thank you so much, and I hope you enjoy the course.
Hello everyone. Welcome to the next module of the Intuitive Writer Activation Workshop. Today we're going to be delving into writing guides, and this is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because I am always in communication with my writing guides. So what is a writing guide? A writing guide is a type of spirit guide, and a spirit guide is any benevolent, loving, energetic being that is here to help you out in your day-to-day life. They could be angels, they could be power animals, they could be ancestors, loved ones from a past life. They take so many different shapes and forms. But everybody has spirit guides. And if you're a writer, you have writing guides. And your writing guides are here to help you bring in the stories and the characters that want to be expressed through you. So those energies that are out there that want to work with you, your guides help you connect with them and bring them in, download them, and express them on the page. I'm going to share some stories with you of how I work with my writing guides so that you can get an idea of how it might work for you as you make contact with your own guides. The first thing is to know that you might have different writing guides depending on what you're working on. They come and go for different works. I had one particular guide come in for some zombie holiday stories, and once I brought them in, he said goodbye. It is a little sad when they go, but you know, when one goes, another one comes. So right now I am working with some guides, and they are rainbow dolphins. And like the name suggests, they look like dolphins, but they're rainbow colors. They're all sorts of different beautiful colors. They don't look like regular dolphins that you would see here on Earth. And yes, I have rainbow dolphins that are helping me write zombie books. So I know how that sounds, but there it is. Yeah, spirit doesn't always make sense, but I take it as it comes. So I work with my dolphins all the time on this book, and I just wanted to give you some concrete ideas of what that looks like. So I can go to them when I have really specific questions. So in an earlier module, I shared a lot about the character Cassie in this particular book, and she was the World War I victim from Slovenia who was killed as a young girl, and it was her energy that I was working with in this particular book. And as I mentioned, I had a lot of resistance around killing her off, and I had a really hard time bringing in the scene. So I wrote one of her death scenes, and I knew it was terrible. I knew I wasn't feeling it and hearing it. But even so, I needed validation. I went to my husband, and he confirmed, yes, it's terrible. So I knew that I definitely needed help. So I dropped into my meditation, and I connected with my dolphins, and I said, I'm having so much trouble with this scene. Can you help me? What does Cassie's death scene look like? And as often happens when I talk to my guides, I see a lot of things like movies in my third eye, because that's one of my energy centers that's very active. So I didn't hear anything, but I specifically saw her come into the scene, and she got bitten by a zombie. And now in retrospect, I find it very ironic that I'm writing a zombie book and I couldn't figure out how to kill this character, because I mean, obviously it's a zombie book. It should have been a no-brainer, but it didn't occur to me when I was working on it because I had so much resistance around it. So they clearly showed her being bitten. So I had the information that I needed, and I was really able to relax and bring in the scene, and I'm really happy with the way that it came out. So that's just one way you can go in and really get specific help. But sometimes it's not so specific. Sometimes I go in and I connect with them, and they are full-on brainstorming sessions. And one of the things I've learned in working with spirit and bringing in these different energies that want to be expressed, they're not so interested in the technical aspect around the writing. That's your job. This is the co-creation part of it. They're not really interested or care much about, good grammar or plot holes or scenes making sense. So a lot of that is really going to be up to you to hone the technical writing aspect. But what's really nice is sometimes I can go in and brainstorm with them. So instead of writing a section of the book 3 or 4 times and all of them being terrible and then having to trash them, I can come in and sit with my dolphins for 30 minutes to an hour, and we can run through scenes. So an example, recently as I was finishing a book, I knew that the book was going to end with a football theme, and that was about all I knew. I knew it had this football theme end because the main character was a former high school quarterback, but I really needed help bringing it in. So as I sat with them, we just began a brainstorming session, and we'd work through one scenario, and if it didn't work, we just kicked it aside and we started again. And we went through many different scenarios, and when I came out, I finally had something that was super clear, and I was able to sit down and write it. And yeah, again, I was really happy with the way the ending came out. And that was thanks to all of my work with the dolphins. So I have so much gratitude towards them. Another thing that I use my guides for is to connect with the energy behind the characters. And I've shared some other character stories, and in those instances with Jessica and with Cassie, those were souls behind those characters. Those were very specific souls that really had messages and agendas that they needed folded into the story. But that's not always the case. So on this current series that I'm working on, the main character is a former high school star quarterback. So as I was working with him, I went to my dolphins and I said, can I meet Leo? Can you tell me more about him? And it was really interesting. So what they showed me, they didn't take me to an actual person or an actual soul like they have in some other instances, but what they showed me was his character as I picture him and as I describe him in the book. But he is made up of dozens of little energetic threads, like he's woven together from many different energies. So he's not a singular energy source. And so I could see him and see this woven quality about him, all these different strands that made him up. And as I was talking to them and asking them about what I was seeing, I learned that he is an expression of the wartime experience. And there's a lot of different energetic threads that came together so that this wartime experience could be expressed. Because we start out from the very innocence before war, and then the systematic destruction of that innocence as the war escalates and things become harder and loved ones are lost. So these different energetic strands came together to be expressed, and then his personality actually came through me. So I took all these energetic strands as they were given to me, folded them together, and I gave them a personality, and in a way I created Leo. So that's a really good example of co-creation and how it works. And it's also an example of how your guides can really help you connect with your characters. And now I have a better understanding of his story arc throughout the series, which I didn't 100% know before I asked, which is probably why I got so hung up on his love story with Cassie, because I thought he was going to have a love story, but that's not what his arc is for. That's not what his energy is here to express. I really hope this gives you a concrete idea of how you can work with your guides once you connect with them. And that brings me to the next portion of this module, which is a very special guided meditation designed to help you meet your writing guides. And I actually worked with my dolphins on this. They helped me bring this in. So this actually came from actual writing guides that are out there in the universe. This was one of the very first meditations that I downloaded and co-created with the universe. And before I released it in this module, I gave it to quite a few of my creative friends. Some of them are writers and some of them were artists, painters, sculptors. But just in general, I gave them this meditation to see if any of them could make contact with their creativity guides or with their writing guides. And it was really neat. And some of these friends have no experience with the spirituality world, at least not on a conscious level. And two of them made contact right away. One of my friends, she's a beautiful painter, and she immediately made contact with a nature spirit guide and saw it very clearly. Another one of my writing buddies, she was able to hear words, and they didn't come through very strongly. She couldn't quite string them together into full sentences, but she was able to hear from her guide immediately on the first try. And these were both people that didn't have experience meditating. So the reason I'm sharing these stories is because your guides are there and they so want to talk to you. They're probably so excited that you're getting ready to make contact. So it might happen very easily and very quickly. And if it doesn't, don't worry. Don't worry. It will definitely happen because they're there and they are so excited to work with you and to be able to have this direct contact with you. So like all the meditations in this course, just be kind to yourself and patient and consistent, right? Make sure that you're consistent. Try to do these meditations, if not every day, then at least on most days. Like really try to bring them in every day. And I promise you that if you dedicate yourself and do these meditations and make the conscious act to reach out and connect with your guides and the universe, it will absolutely happen. So enjoy the meditation below, and I will see everybody back here for the last module of the course. Bye.
Would you like to continue your journey as an intuitive writer? Be sure to go back and listen to old episodes of the Intuitive Writer podcast. They are rich with information and helpful tips. I also have a lot of ideas for more free courses that I would love to offer on this channel, but I need your support to do that. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button and share this content with your writing buddies. Thank you so much.